The following is a presentation of Stewed Productions.
All right, that's official. He faded it in. Look at that lush live footage there in studio. Wow. Just a studio just jam-packed full of men and beer.
Sausage party today.
Yeah, it's the best kind because it's a beer brats. It's a beer brat show. This is weird already.
It's only going to get weirder.
All right. Well, here we go. Jeff and Brad are in studio. Do we have Jeff and Brad?
We do.
Shot?
We do. This thing, it's up.
Oh, it's up?
You just can't see
Okay. Humble Beer Works, guys.
Yeah.
Humble.
Humble?
Humble.
We're saying, Wait.
Yeah, we're going to open that up right away.
Okay. Let's do that. Well, you're in the, wait. No, like the brewery is technically in, or do you have an address? Yeah.
We have our pilot system, which is technically in Angell, Texas. And we are and are not looking to land officially in Angell, Texas.
Oh.
So that's the elephant in the room that Jeff's referring to.
Okay. Well, let's work through that. Let's consider this a therapy session if you need to, or business meeting. However you.
Can I get a hug first, like real quick from Jeff?
Oh.
Just kidding. Don't touch me.
Too late for that.
Too late for that. But the touching has already began.
I got my hug in.
Okay, so will it be Humble Beer Works?
Humble
Beer Works. Okay, so officially Humble Beer Works near Humble-ish, maybe. We're not being hemmed in.
Okay.
So Humble Beer Works.
So unofficially, we're looking at land downtown by St. Arnold.
Oh.
Somewhere.
Oh, okay. You know what?
You know who else is over there?
Huggy Bear,
Yeah.
local group.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hold on. Yeah, enough. He's been on enough lately. We'll get back to him. I'm sure within the time we've done this show, he's done like 3 collaborations, and we've just been like 10 minutes into the show. I think he's collaborating with 2 more people right now. That guy gets around. Okay, so Humble Beer Works. Y'all just happen to be in the Humble area, which is where I mistakenly put all that together. But why am I projecting onto y'all? Y'all are here. Let's hear the whole story and go.
Yeah.
He's going to give you the background on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, so I mean, I had kind of started this thing up with a folk or two back in the day, and a few years back, and just to talk a little bit about the logo and whatnot and where that came from. I'm a transplant. I'm from Detroit. Oh. And if you look at the logo, it's a planetary gear set, which is kind of what's inside of the transmission on a car. And so most folks that are from Detroit are, in the automotive industry, or everybody they know is in the automotive industry. I moved to Texas back in 2012. I landed in Humble, and sort of fell into the old Humble oil field days, if you will. And I also have my background is mechanical engineering. And so it all kind of just came together in my head, and I had this really retarded looking logo that I put on a piece of paper that was like 3 circles with some teeth on it and a hop leaf and this, and I submitted it to one of these websites online where everybody comes in and competes for the logo space. And so one of the things that we kind of want to talk about, and Jeff keeps alluding to, is it Humble, is it Humble? So yeah, at the beginning of our roots, it was Humble Beer Works. Okay. And I don't want to go into too much detail as to why we are taking a more organic approach to where we're going to end up. But let's just say that the Humble City Council wasn't the happiest with us when they found out that we were possibly bringing what we were going to try to do is bring a brewery to downtown Humble, basically, back in the day. And so I know Ingenious has landed in Humble. They're not technically, right downtown in Old Humble per se. Great brewery, by the way. I'm not trying to talk down those guys. They're lovely. I love them. They're awesome. But and so once that conversation kind of happened, and then I sort of met Jeff, Heath, Cody, and Jason. That thought process of gotta have Humble has sort of kind of expanded a little bit, and we started talking. We were like, hey, to somebody that's outside of 77346 or whatever their zip codes are over there, it just looks like Humble. Nobody in the world other than in Humble, Texas, knows that H is not pronounced, right?
Right.
So it's sort of, as with many things we're probably going to talk about today, I think a lot of the a lot of the organic changes are sort of happening now, where we're not so stuck on the city of Humble, the word Humble. We've kind of branched out a little bit, and you know, the word humble right. I mean, it goes back to a lot of our roots and a lot of our upbringing, and so it makes more sense maybe for a nationwide brand or maybe even a global brand someday. So as with many of our recipes and our name and all that stuff, yeah, it's kind of where we're at with it.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Does that halfway explain it?
No,
kind
that's
of?
good. That's good. So I'm super blessed to be able to talk to people in all levels of brewery development. You know, I did a interview just earlier this week, latest episode of Interbrews that's out now, with Battle Hops. They've been open for like 3 months, and then before that was No Label and Southern Star, and they've been open for 7 years now, or 5, however long it's been. And I've been at grand openings, and I've been there for 25th anniversaries for St. Arnold, but the pre-stage, there's so much going on, and typically I don't get to talk because it's so busy and it's so dynamic, and everything. You're trying to figure out everything. I mean, like you're talking about, it's like name, business, like approach, like model, what type of brewery you want to open, styles of beers, and then perfecting said beers, and then even what take on those styles and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot. It's a whole lot. So this is cool to get a look inside, look behind the curtain. Kenny, are you going to take pictures behind the curtain? So
you don't want to see any of my behind.
Not you, of them. I'm thinking like later.
Well, technically, if you go on our Instagram page now,
Yeah.
at Liquid Lunch TX,
Yeah.
you will see a behind the scenes picture
Of Humble Beer Works.
of part of Humble Beer Works.
Yeah, a humble slice.
It's hard to say, isn't it?
Will I be scarred for life?
It is, but before we get too far,
Oh.
I have a question.
Well, you're probably want to know what time it is,
yeah,
right?
that I'd like to pose to these two gentlemen
Yeah,
here.
what time is it?
Yeah.
It's time for your favorite segment and mine here on Liquid Lunch. This is
What you drinking?
So in the glasses in front of us, one of your beers. Dark. Smells so good. What do we got?
We have a coffee milk stout that Brad, our brewer extraordinaire, and a friend of ours, Nick Seacrest, you may know, they
Nick C.
collaborated on. And it's a fantastic beer. It has a coffee flavor, but it's kind of writing in the background and no bitterness. Great beer.
Yeah, I think one of the cool things about this beer is the way we did it. We use whole coffee beans, and they really only touch the beer for a few hours. And that allows us to not allow some of the acidity to get into the beers that has been common in the past, I think, with some coffee stouts. And Jeff touched on it, but I really do want to plug Nick. I took almost a year off really brewing to go get a degree in brewing. And so, just like with anything else, when you don't practice something for a really long time, you forget things. And so Nick has kind of come in and help me get back on track with just remembering off the top of my head all the different pop profiles that are out there, and just some of the smaller things that I had forgotten when I was getting super technical in the beer degree, if you will. So if anybody ever has questions or wants to do a collab brew, he is an absolute wealth of freaking knowledge. I can't thank him enough for helping me get back up to speed after my kind of little brewing hiatus for a while. That dude is a wealth of knowledge. So Nick, if you're listening, man, we appreciate you, and
Cheers.
Your money will be no good to us in our brewery if we ever open, or when we open, I should say.
Nick is a fellow rogue brewer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah.
Misty says, "Hey, everybody, she's at Charleston."
Yeah.
Hey, Miss.
Yeah. So.
Mitzi's at Charleston, and Jules, if she's watching, she's in Orlando.
Oh, they missed each other.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. And Brendan says, "Yeah."
Yeah.
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 Brendan, another rogue brewer.
Yeah, we're rogue heavy
Yes,
today.
the rogue brewers have a definite presence on this show.
Yeah, you can smell it.
Well, that's just me.
That's him.
Okay, so let's dive into this beer. I mean, literally, I want to dive into this beer. This is a happy, like, this is a warm hug type of beer. This is great. This is a good morning beer. This is I don't know if I like that shot. A lot of bald spot going on there.
It looks.
I need to like shave my beard.
It
and
looks
glue.
dynamic. Or
Is
just move your headsets further back on your
Oh,
head.
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
See, that's technical.
Yeah, just move
There we
it.
go.
That,
I look
man.
like
Yeah.
4 years younger.
Yep.
And in need of a haircut.
Yeah.
I didn't realize the side of me.
Yep.
Here's a look behind a curtain, everybody. All these buttons and
Literally
things.
behind.
The curtain. Well, it depends on what side of that curtain.
Yep.
Anyway, okay. So, when in the process did you add the coffee bean? Was it fermentation? Was it boy? I would.
Yeah, so just to talk a little bit about the beer specifically, the base malt for this beer is mostly Maris Otter. It's about 80% or more of the grain bill basically. The hop we use in this beer is called Warrior. Pretty common beer there, or common hop there. And then the other thing that I think sets this beer apart a little bit is the addition of some lactose, which isn't the most fermentable thing in the world, which it's barely fermentable, I should say. So if you want to end up with a sweeter beer at the end, we kind of stuck some lactose in there to kind of give it that little sweetness to balance the coffee flavor out. And so basically what's nice is we have some unitanks now, so we're able to basically get up on Saturday morning kind of thing, stick the coffee beans in there. And what's neat about it is if you get like a flavored coffee, like a hazelnut or a Texas pecan or something that's Texas, you know what I mean? We stick the beans in there basically after fermentation's totally done and it's kind of sat in the fermenter for about a week, and we stick the beans in there, and then basically we carbonate the beer while the beans are in suspension. They float, and so with the unis that we have, I mean, you run it up to 12 psi through a carb stone, and the big thing is not letting like I said earlier, is not letting the beans sit in the beer for too long, because that's when you start pulling acid out of the beans, and can really change the flavor and the profile of the beer. And so keeping it in my opinion in cold environment and not allowing it on the beer for very long, it kind of gives this beer its name and its feel, if you will.
Yeah, it's a delicious beer. I want to let it warm up a little bit, just because it's one of those where it starts as one thing when you get it, straight off the tap, a little cold, but you get that, the lactose and the just creamy roast, and it's good. It's rich and delicious, and then it warms up and it gets even better.
I think the other thing that's cool with the unis that we have is, this beer, I think, as a standalone stout is a solid beer. I mean, a lot of the guys tried it while it was in the fermenter before we put the coffee beans in it. And, nowadays with the roasted malts that we have out there, you can almost get that coffee feel to it without ever even putting beans in it. And so we may end up doing like an imperial version of this without the beans. We may end up doing a session version of this with the beans. I mean, this is I think may end up being a base beer for us for several other beers that we might go after.
What's the ABV on this one?
Oh gosh, you're putting me on the spot, aren't you?
Well, you said
Just make up a number.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's right around 6.
Okay.
Nick would be a better person to talk to about that. A lot of these recipes that we do come out of our brains, and we don't stick them in Brewer's Friend every single time. We just make something that tastes good and find out about the calories and the ABV and the gravity and all that crap later. Now, of course, we have target starting gravity and finishing gravity, but it's all science after that.
okay.
So,
Well, no, it's
You really keep track of the calories?
He does. I don't.
man, you see this hourglass figure over here?
I'm gonna assume this is a low calorie.
low,
beer.
very low.
Very low.
Like it's not gonna add anything to my
Yeah.
waistline.
Not at all.
no.
Where are you at, Michelob Ultra? Right?
Yeah, yeah. You want this after your CrossFit? Just that's the commercial. It sells itself. Just drinking this beer with a bunch of sweaty
That's right.
people.
This is breakfast. Right
yeah.
there.
It was. You finished yours. That's really good. That's really enjoyable. There needs to be some sort of enjoyable factor number. I'd put that at an 8 out of 10 or 9. I don't. It's right up there. Just you don't need anything. You just else. It's a standalone. I'm gonna have that beer and just I don't even need anybody else to talk to. So it's a good beer to when Kennedy's talking. You just kind of want to tune him out. Just sitting there thinking about that.
Just stick your pinky out and go,
Never happens.
No, that's good. That's good. So, good stuff. Okay, so you said Detroit.
Yeah, man. The dirty D, if you will. It's as dangerous as it gets. And I was, for the record, born south of 8 Mile Road. I was born in 313, in Detroit, which is, it's a pretty eclectic city these days. It's like anywhere else. So you got the nice areas and the bad areas, and just like Houston has. So it's like anywhere else.
Yeah. Well, what brought you down here?
Man, that's crazy. I graduated from Michigan State. Go green, go white. Back in like 2006 with a mechanical engineering degree. And I don't know if you remember at that time the economy was about to take a crap. And so what was interesting is that was one of the first years that they had ever recalled in the school's history that, you know, the big three really didn't show up to any of our recruiting. So it was all these chemical companies, basically specialty chemical companies, which is what was on a high at the time, from all over the country. And I went to this little old company in South Alabama. And I remember telling my mom, she cried like a baby. It was, you know, somebody who's from Michigan, they think Alabama is a foreign country.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was. When I got down there, I'm not going to lie to you, I was, man, I didn't know where I was at. I couldn't understand half the people.
Yeah.
You know, I remember I got to a Waffle House at about 2 o'clock in the morning when we drove down there. I drove down there with my best friend, and the lady asked me what I wanted to drink, and I said a Coke, and she said, what kind? And I just kind of looked at her, and I was like, of cola? Coke of cola? You know, like, what do you mean what kind?
Yeah.
You know, but to a Southerner, you know, and I love them all to death. Don't get me wrong. I have many Southern friends. Like, you know, I love it here. I loved it there. That kind of thing. You know, so I'm that's a tongue in cheek comment, right? But you know, it was a little bit of a culture shock. So that's kind of how I ended up down here. Was I got recruited by a company that was in the South Alabama area. Then I took a job promotion that ended me up here in the Humble, Texas area. So yeah, I've got a lot of roots from the north, man. I'm not a regular Yankee. I'm a damn Yankee, they call me.
Yeah.
Right, because I don't go back. So.
Well, why would you?
I know, right? 9-month-long boating season. I mean, no snow. You know, I do miss some of that stuff sometimes, but man, I've, you know, been able to make a living here and meet some really awesome guys and get to do some pretty cool things, and I wouldn't trade it, you know. So
Cool.
it's been a humbling experience.
Well, we're glad you're here. Stick around. The beer's good. I mean,
Keep making good beer.
yeah, like you seem like a nice guy, but then you throw the beer in on top of it. It's
Right.
like, yeah, I guess we'll keep him.
Yeah.
Jeff, what's your background?
I'm actually originally from Las Vegas.
Really?
Yeah, grew up there. Went to high school in southern Utah. Moved back to Las Vegas.
Okay.
Lived there as an adult, and then I moved to Texas. I believe it was '86 to go to college.
Oh, you're basically that long. You're just texting.
I was in
Yeah.
diapers. Just saying.
He's not mine. So
I'm with you, Jeff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been in Texas a long time. I consider myself a Texan.
Yeah.
I wouldn't move back to Las Vegas.
No.
And it's funny because everybody, when they hear that, they go, "Hey, man, that must be really cool living there." And I'm like, "So what's your job like? What do you do here?" And it's just like that,
Yeah.
right? No, I don't go gamble and I don't hang out at casinos. You know, we work.
Yeah.
And then we go home and sleep and, you know.
So a couple of things I have to ask about. Okay, one, you said Michigan State. Is Michigan State, or the Big Ten, are they allowing beer sales at the stadium, or do they have beer sales in the stadiums?
Not inside of the stadium, but one of the things that's interesting about that campus is you cannot have open in talks anywhere except for on campus. So what we would do in the mornings, and this is what really got me into brewing beer. I mean, this kind of goes way back to my dorm room before I was 21. Don't tell anybody that we were brewing beer in B311 Bailey. But anyway,
Mum's the word.
Yeah.
we would we would go to the corner store and pick up a 30-pack or whatever, you know, at 6-7 o'clock in the morning, and you couldn't crack a beer open until you step foot on campus, which is super weird, right?
Yeah, that is weird.
So you could drink on campus. They did not have beer sales inside of the stadium. So the goal was, you guessed it, how many beers can you get down before that game starts so that you don't lose your buzz come halftime?
Right.
And man, sometimes, you know, you were expected to be at tailgate at 7 o'clock in the morning. It didn't matter if the game was at 8 p.m. or noon.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about some...
How about some of those late season games up there?
Oh, God, the rain and the cold. And
Yeah.
oh, my God, mimosas, man. We did beer mimosas, like hot toddies, all that stuff.
Yeah, I asked because it was a few months ago that the SEC, like the best conference, you know, the best.
Hey,
conference,
listen.
that they're allowing beer sales finally this season. So it's like every day a new state, you know, a new school says, yeah, we're going to allow it. Wow. And so Alabama, Missouri, and Arkansas. The funny thing from the AD at Arkansas, he was like, well, we can't risk anybody not coming because there's no beer, so we got to do beer. I think he was genuinely serious. Like, that's too big of a risk. So we're just going to allow beer. So they've all got beer sales now. Southern Miss, not SEC, but
I think in Arkansas they're like, well, we'd rather have beer sales than people sneaking in the moonshine.
I mean, they're going to do that anyway. So, I don't know. That's just it just happens. Why's it got to be Arkansas? Why can't it be like a West Virginia thing? Don't they have more moonshine over there? Mountains, hills?
Do they?
Or Kentucky? I would think so. I don't know. I don't know who makes the most moonshine. But you know what? You can make your own moonshine. Did you know that?
Uh-huh.
If you had ingredients from
Uh-oh.
the
Great.
grain cellar.
Yeah.
There we go. Umble's Premier Homebrew Store, 240 First Street West. Humble,
Uh-oh.
Texas, 773.
Kind of cutting Brad out of that shot.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, so there's Preston ready and waiting with open arms to embrace you with his knowledge of home brewing and winemaking.
Have you guys gotten your free hugs from Preston?
Oh yeah, Preston's the reason we're all together. Actually,
Yeah, he's
yeah,
the,
he brought us all together. I knew Brad a little. I knew Cody a little. I did not know Heath and Jason. And Preston organized a meeting with all of us and said, "Hey, you guys seem to be all interested," and it was a great meeting. And here we are.
he's a bringer together of not only ingredients but people as well. He brewed y'all.
And he's also, I think, really supported all of us individually along the way. I mean, before I ever even knew any of these guys, I mean, I was getting, my 5-gallon batches from Mr. Preston Brown, so just the fact that we all kind of came together later, and he's always been a part of that, and he's always supported us. And so he's another one of these people that we hope would indulge us with being around for the long term, if you will, because he's been instrumental really in everything, bringing us together, helping us develop some of these recipes, getting them together, that kind of thing. And so he's been a really good dude, and a great business to have standing behind you as a fledgling brewery, if you will.
Yeah, he's a wealth of information. I mean, just and not just information, but wisdom as well.
That dude has probably forgotten more than I know about, you know what I mean? He does kombucha. He does the mother on his kombucha is like 25 years old from Japan or some crazy, how would you even know that? You know what I mean? And so, and he's doing moonshine and he's doing beer and he's doing, I mean, the dude just knows a lot about everything, you know?
Yeah. He, I was telling you, he was the first in studio guest interview I ever did. And he brought over this cooler just full of goodies. My mind has never left my body that fast. It was just like just so much between his mead and oh my gosh, it was just fastest I've ever gotten hammered. But it was fun. I have to go back to those episodes and listen. But
yeah, I buy 100% of my brewing supplies from the grain cellar.
100%.
Yes, 100%.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
All my brewing supplies.
Yes.
What's your
latest brew?
Well, I'm currently working on a Mexican lager right now.
Really?
I just started the lagering a couple days ago.
Yeah.
So I've got. Oh, you could have just told me.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I didn't want to interrupt your flow.
Yeah. So I've got it in the fermentation chamber right now. It's going to be there I'm going to let it lager for about 6 weeks. Okay. So all in all, before this beer's ready to go, it'll be like 3 months in the making.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So I really hope it's good.
Well, good. No, lagers are you need a deft hand because you can't hide anything in a lager really.
No.
I mean, unless you're doing like a crazy like a black lager with coffee. I guess then maybe you could hide some stuff, but like to do an actual clean traditional lager of some sort, you gotta be on point.
Well, when I transferred it into another fermenter, I guess secondary. I guess it's not technically secondary.
Right.
So I got it off the yeast, and that was a tip from Cindy at Southern Yankee.
Yeah.
She said get it off the yeast, put it in another container before you start lagering it.
Well, yeah, because if you're going to lager it for a long time, you can run into some.
So thank you, Cindy. So I did that, and it smelled excellent.
Well, there you go.
When I transferred it, so I think I'm going to have a good one.
All right.
My last couple have not been very good.
Well, you have hits and you have misses.
I'm on a streak of misses right now, but
it's fine. Just keep swinging.
It's all a learning process.
Yeah.
I'm not upset about it.
Even Mike Trout doesn't hit a home run every single time. You know
who?
Mike Trout.
Did he ever hit a home run?
Mike
Who's-
Trout?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like some guys. What about John Bass?
There was Catfish Hunter.
Oh, okay. I'm kidding. I know who that is.
I know, but I'm wondering if there's any other fish.
So you guys know, I'm not a sports fan at all.
He makes sure he mentions it every time, makes it awkward. But hey to Mexico. Greg Mendez watching. Hey, buddy. I miss you. Jeffrey's watching. Everybody.
Man.
Hold on. Kevin.
Right.
Kevin had. He wanted to also mention that at the Aggie. Is it Aggie Stadium? Aggie Field. Cobb Field. Yes, the stadium where the Aggies play. Texas A&M. Whoop or whatever.
Yeah.
They will also have beer sales. They're going to have a Blackwater Draw there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Good brewery.
Yeah. Oh, excellent brewery. But that's cool that they're doing local. I don't know. Is the Longhorns? Do they have any local beers being sold at there? Anybody know?
No
Somebody
clue.
should Google that. Somebody watching. Let me know.
I'm sure out of our hundreds of viewers right now, somebody.
If there's a Longhorn out there,
we've got Longhorn fans.
A&M has got one on you.
Yeah.
Local beer.
Yeah.
Available at the stadium. So, Sylvia wants to know if we'll be at the Brewmasters Craft Beer Festival Labor Day weekend down in Galveston. I will not. I have for whatever reason.
Is she asking us or is
Just
she asking
anybody in general, maybe in the chat.
You guys.
Are you on?
Man, I think a lot of us are out of town this year. We will have a ton of events this year, but that unfortunately is not one of them. I don't believe.
That's a great festival. It's down at Moody Gardens. Everything's inside.
That's all you have to say.
Yeah. So, and well, it's not only just
Air
inside.
conditioning.
It's the it's at the what's got the the hotel and everything's all there encompassed. So you don't have to even leave. I mean, people do leave. There's a big party all weekend long. It's pretty rowdy, but
Oh, yeah. Get a room there.
yeah,
You don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to worry about drinking too much.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, within reason, I suppose. It's like if you don't make it back to your room. Dang, you remember that dude that does that show?
Yeah.
Like, what's his name? Ken or something? Ken D, whatever his name was.
Yeah,
Didn't he make it back to his room?
He's got a girl's name.
Yeah, he's ended up sleeping in that ficus or whatever it was. I don't know. But Sylvia, when is the
again?
Yeah, I don't guess Sylvia, has the big announcement been made yet? I hadn't checked social this morning. She's waiting a big announcement from Sylvia.
Oh,
I don't know if the details are out yet.
okay.
Anyway,
I think I
that's
know.
that.
I think I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
So, oh hey, there's Billy. Billy's watching too. Billy's my neighbor, just down here.
Oh.
Yeah. So, what's up, neighbor?
Oh, you should invite him over sometime.
Well, he did come over not that long ago. We sat out in the driveway and drank
No,
beers.
on a Thursday.
Oh, he works. He's like a normal person that works during the day.
Oh.
All of us. Why are none of us at work? Why? Yeah. What do y'all? Is that? Are we
work.
supposed to be? Are we
later.
Are we blowing your cover?
I'm on call. No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm on call too.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, I'm still sipping. I'm going to let this warm up. I'm going to come back to it. Let's go to the next beer because
No worries. Hey, real quick before we move on, I just want to say one more thing about Preston. If anybody's ever in the area, we always try to keep a keg on tap. So if you want to try something that's new and upcoming from us, we almost always, just about every brew or every other brew that we do, we pretty much throw Preston a keg back, for his support. So if you ever want to check out and see what we got coming out of the fermenter, he's
at the grain cellar.
at the grain cellar. Yeah. So if you go inside, say hi to Preston, let him know you're looking for HBW,
Okay. I like
and
it.
he'll get you whatever you need.
Cool. No, that's go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna have I had a question.
Oh, before you, I'm just going to say, I think that's an excellent marketing. Not just marketing. What else would you call that? Market research. Just being awesome.
Getting good feedback.
Just good feedback, all that stuff.
And he gives it too, man. He's great at helping us develop. Well, they all said that they tasted sulfur, and I'm like, man, I don't get that, but I can't smell anything. I mean, dirty diaper maybe, but not sulfur.
Yeah.
I just don't have it.
Oh, well, then if you like Dirty Diaper, Kennedy had a beer for you not that long ago. What about you think about Dirty Cheetos?
That was my first dump.
Yeah. Well, that's what you did into the fermenter, apparently. Dumped.
Oh,
Well, you drank it.
I took a sip. You drank the whole thing. You said you were drinking that all weekend. Maybe it developed late.
I didn't.
this is getting weird.
It is weird.
Yeah.
This is getting weird.
Yeah. So my question is: so you guys, you're doing all these test batches and stuff, and I'm assuming what size are your test batches?
It's a loaded question. No, I'm just kidding. So we have a 1 barrel, what some would consider a brew in a bag system from Colorado Brewing Systems.
Okay.
It is 2 25-gallon vessels basically that has a mesh basket inside of it, And there's, believe it or not, there's an overhead crane that goes back and forth on a trolley to where we can lift up the 2 mash baskets. And what's really neat about that system, and we've done this, we can brew one beer on one side and a totally different beer on the other side at the same time.
Oh, cool.
Or we can brew a whole barrel of whatever, or we can brew a half a barrel of whatever.
Is that Alan at Brigadoon? I think he might have something.
Does he have something there?
Similar setup down at the outpost down.
Yeah.
At Leaks. Is it Leaks?
And so it's not the highest efficiency system that you can buy out there, but my gosh, we can. I mean, when you get it down, when you get the process down, you can really go from mash in to fermenter like in 3.5 hours. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And for us, we don't. A lot of home brewers, they're, hey, let's mash for an hour every time. We measure saccharification. So we may be done in 23 minutes with our mash. We may be done in 42 minutes with our mash. We don't just say an hour. Mm-hmm. And that's one of those things that I kind of learned in brew school, that, that whole 1 hour thing is just something that homebrewers typically do. So we try to bring some newer stuff. But to answer your question even further, we have 3 1-barrel unitanks from Spike Brewing. And then we took a window unit air conditioner, like either a 5 or 8,000 BTU, cut it in half, and did that whole thing. You put the evaporator coil in an ice chest, and we fill it with propylene glycol.
Okay.
And so that liquid is held down between 27 and 30 degrees, depending on what you want. And then we have ink birds on each fermenter, and there's a pump inside of that ice chest. So if I put it at 52 degrees, it turns that little pump on and circulates it through the fermenter. We've got 2 barrels coming. That's a big saga that we won't get into, but hopefully they're on their way soon. And those are unis as well, and those are jacketed fermenters, whereas the ones we have from Spike are the coil in the inside of the beer. Mixed thoughts on both. Really, I mean, your biomass is in the center of the beer. So really the most efficient way to maintain fermentation temperature, in my opinion, is from the center of the beer. Mm-hmm. So, and those vessels allow you to do that. But your traditional brewery has just glycol jackets on the outside, and what's going on at the very middle of the beer is up for discussion, I guess.
So I guess my real question is, with all this beer you guys are brewing, you obviously can't sell it yet. What are you doing with all of it?
We are planning to do events where we give away tasting for the beer, get some feedback, and that's all in the process. We're looking at a few different events coming up, and yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming you're not drinking all this beer.
Are you trying to say you want some beer?
I'm not saying that.
Well, yeah, we've kind of always opened it up too, man. You believe it or not, I hate to say this. I really hate to say this, but you have to think about it from a business standpoint and from what we're trying to achieve. We do pour a lot of it down the driveway. I hate to say that. I really do. But you just can't. There's not enough people that have ball lock keg systems sitting open. So what I try to do is get all the guys to take a little bit, but some of them are in transition. Some of them don't have the means to take it. So we drink a lot of it. We bring a lot of it to stuff like this. We give Preston a keg whenever we have excess. So we try not to throw it away, but if it's something that I don't really love or that we don't feel is going to make it into the fold at the very end, she gone.
Yeah.
Just we're here to make great beer, and so I'm not. Yeah, you want to drink every little drop. It's all drinkable beer, but I'm not just going to throw anything out there, or we aren't just going to throw anything out there for the masses to drink. So
yeah, I mean, my first beer, the Goza, which was obviously really bad. I even had a problem. That was my first beer to dump, and like I've got like 3 gallons of this stuff, and I'm like, I don't really want to dump it, but it had to be done.
You should, yeah.
It had to be done.
Put that one out of our misery.
Yeah.
That's that. The problem with the Goza, though, I don't know. I mean, maybe you could do beer bread with, not with that though. That one was just
Did you sour it at all, or what did you do with it?
I soured it.
What did you do? Did you throw a handful of grain back into the mash and let it sit?
No,
unmilled.
I use what was it? Good Belly.
Oh, Good Belly, yeah.
Yeah. So I Good Belly, I put some of that in, let it sit at 100 degrees for about 3 days.
Ooh. I bet you that was dank. Man.
Well, I guess at that point, I mean, that's what aren't you supposed to do that?
Yeah, I mean.
But you're supposed to, I guess, test the pH, and I just The problem where I think I went wrong was I added.
He visually tested the pH.
That
looks pretty good.
I fruited it, and I think that's where I went wrong. I think that's where everything happened.
What'd you fruit it with?
Strawberry. So I was trying to make a strawberry lime goza.
Oh, okay.
And it did. I was experimenting. It was beyond my capabilities, I'm assuming, and then it wasn't good.
But you learned a lot, right?
I did, yeah.
That's where it's at, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Where speaking of beyond Kennedy's abilities or knowledge or whatever, where did you do your formal training?
yeah. So my informal training came from my college dorm room, like we talked about earlier,
Right.
and I was brewing way before I was even legally able to. Don't tell anybody up there that, but. I brewed all through the years, and then probably, I think it was in about 2017, I was like, you know what, I really want to go get some formal training in this. And it's Sydney, right, at Southern Yankee?
Yeah.
She has, I found out this out at Preston's a couple weeks ago. She has the same training as I do. But anyway, there's two main, or in my opinion, two main organizations in the U.S., and one of them is the American Brewers Guild. What's the other one called? It starts with an S. Siebold, yeah. They didn't have a program that really was able to fit with my schedule. But anyway, so I reached out to the American Brewers Guild, and they're I think just as respectable as Siebold is. But I did their 6-month long program, which was really, really intense. And let me explain that a little bit. It's expensive. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, it's like $15,000 or something like that. I hate to throw that out there, but I know people may be wondering, like, what does a brew degree look like?
What is the deal? I always wondered why, like, prices and things like that. Like, everybody's so secretive. Like, there's certain things people are secretive about.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. I don't know why everybody's like, let's just all, like, when you have to send an email to somebody to figure, it's like martial arts classes. Like, how much do y'all charge? Send us an email. It's like, can't you just tell me?
Right.
I don't know why. I don't know why martial art classes, and then, like, I don't know, like, whatever, like a.
Well, they got to give you the sales pitch.
That's it.
It's going to be really expensive, and then they're like, well, if you.
Tell me why it's worth it.
Yeah.
I see through that.
Yeah.
I just want to know.
Yeah.
I
mean, most people.
I'm
see through
inquiring, so I see the value in your product. Just let me understand. Tell me what. Anyway, $15,000 would be worth it if you're wanting to be a professional brewer.
So it's a 6-month long program. Most of it is online, and it is. I mean, you might be thinking, "Oh, this is a joke or whatever." I'm here to tell you, it is not a joke. I'm a degreed mechanical engineer, and I'm telling you, it was difficult.
Yeah.
It was very difficult. It was about 2% making beer and 98% engineering and biochemistry. There were 3 exams along the way. And I just remember I can show them to you sometime, but I have pages and pages of the heat transfer calculations I did on tanks for, how much heat goes out the side versus out the top. And believe it or not, surprise, surprise, about 90% of your heat loss out of your kettle goes right out the sides and not out the top.
Really?
Oh, wow.
So on this brew system that we bought from CBS, I had them do an insulation. And it's not a wrap, it's like they double walled the outside of the tank. And I mean, it is crazy. We can run from, 98 degrees F or whatever up to 150 like in 10 minutes. It's nothing. It's and then the converse is true when you're trying to cool the beer down. So instead of running it through the heat exchanger and back into the kettle, it actually is, you really just want to go through the heat exchanger and into the fermenter at that point instead of trying to cool the beer off in the kettle. So because it works as a heat sink backwards when you're trying to cool back down. So anyway, that program was really cool. It culminates at the end in a week-long, what do you want to call it, like a live-in thing. I had to fly up to Vermont. I got an Airbnb, and you spend an entire week. Man, we were under the microscope counting yeast cells. We were looking at dissolved oxygen. The program. There's several different programs. The program that I did was called the Brewery and Planning Program. So you have to do all of the sciencey stuff. But you also have a day or two at the end of more of the brewery and planning type stuff. So like the Small Business Development Association, cost of chemicals for a brewery per barrel, like stuff that you would look at as more of a business owner than somebody who's just putting grain to water. Yeah. But I spent a lot of time, like, man, we counted yeast cells. They showed us how to operate a ZOM. If you don't know what a ZOM is, it measures the amount of carbonation in the beer. So right now as home brewers, that's good. Oh, I think it's over carbonated. No. This tells you down exactly how many volumes of CO2 you have in your beer. And so we had to operate one of those in addition to brewing on their 15 barrel Newland system, which is really, badass in my opinion. They have this little manifold system, which to a home brewer may not mean a whole lot, but it was pretty neat the way they had it set up. So, God, I learned so much there. It was insane.
Yeah.
I mean, just the Krebs cycle, the cycle that the yeast goes through, and it consumes sugar and converts it into alcohol, and just it was wild, man. Like I said, 98% other, 2% making beer.
Yeah. Well, they say a lot of brewers I talk to, when you own a brewery, it's not all that much making. I mean, yes, you make a lot of beer, but you're doing a lot of cleaning, and then there's the marketing, and there's the business, all that business side of everything. That's why I think it's super. When you look at, people think the idea of opening a brewery that seems really cool. Be around beer all the time. But man, how much, like how multifaceted do you have to be with your skill set? Like especially if you were to try to do it on your own. I don't know if that's even possible to do it on your own. I mean, you talk about like the marketing side of thing and business side of thing, and you're talking about licensing, and then you got the beer stuff, and then you got everything that comes with that. You got to distribute, and you got to all of that.
Man, if anybody's considering opening a brewery, and I'm not trying to talk you out of it, I'm just saying, come sit with me on a Saturday and brew with me one time. And when we all get together on Saturdays, I mean, there's really only one guy doing the brewing. The other 3 guys are freaking cleaning out kegs and spraying the floor down and checking fermentation, in the fermenters, and looking at gravity and glycol this and glycol that. And it's come indulge yourself, and I will show you what it's like to own a brewery. It's very it's not as glamorous as you would think it'd be. The beer is cool, the end product's awesome, all that stuff, but just like any other hobby that you want to turn into a business, it almost never is the same. It almost never invokes the same feelings for you once you turn it into a business. So it kind of takes a special person and a special mindset, I think, to get through that.
Right.
Would you agree with that?
I agree. And, we have a team that actually it's a benefit, the team we have, but also a detriment. And what I mean by that is we have some good guys on our team. We have some money guys, corporate CPAs. We have a distribution guy from Coca-Cola, Cody.
Cool.
And then Brad, of course. And then myself, I just do whatever they tell me to do.
Yeah.
So, but the detriment part of it is when we're trying to figure out if the beer's good, we have 5 different pallets. And the other thing is location, finding a location, deciding what our tap room's going to look like, what beers we brew. There's 5 people to please.
Yeah.
And it's more difficult than if it was just someone in there, wife or husband, or
and you also have the dynamic of the beer industry has changed wildly, like in the last 10 years. Crazy, like the differences it's been in the last 10 years, but even in the last 5, some of the mid-level brewers, that when they got into it, is like, all right, we're going to distribute, far and wide. And now the trend is getting back to smaller. And then, but where's it going to be another year, 2 years from now?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Right.
Who knows? But what? I mean, that's so many things to consider. As far you talk about 5 different palettes, what are y'all's wheelhouse as far as like your go? Like every for me, I love every style. Not the same, but there's not a style that I'm just like, never mind. Maybe the hard seltzer, if that's a style. Hard pass.
Oh God.
Here we go.
But there's not a style where I'm like, no, I don't like it. But there's styles I when I watch my own, like when I go to the bar, I'm like, all right, it's usually like IPAs. I mean, it's pretty cliche. I'll probably go IPA. But what do y'all gravitate towards? It's a long way.
Man, that's
I go through stages.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now, I'm back to IPAs, which I thought I would never be. I just went through a stage of big stouts with bourbon, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It just depends because, like I said, I go through stages. So,
yeah. I mean, I don't like to pin down one style either. I'm a process oriented guy, and I do like to really try to perfect whatever is popular at the time. So right now we're getting into, remember NEPAs were the thing the last however many years. They still are kind of. Yeah. Now we're getting into these Mexican pale lagers. Like we talked about it before the show a little bit. Dos Equis has got their Mexican pale lager or whatever it is now. When a major brand like that comes out with a style that's not Miller Coors Bud, MCB. You know that the game is changing, right? And Budweiser, I saw, you know, they were advertising the other day for their what was it? What is
dark
that?
lager.
Something like that. It's some heirloom beer from however far back. Well, man, when's the last time you saw somebody holding a red can of Budweiser? It's been a while for me. I don't know. So, just to answer your question, I have phases just like he does, man. Right now, I'm into perfecting the NEPAs, but I also love doing a pale. And one of our cool beers that we have coming up that I brewed a ton is a raspberry fruited Hefeweizen.
Ooh.
Which, man, I love. You know what I love about brewing, and I've told these guys, and Jeff said, hey, we've got 5 different ideas of what we want to be, but I like catering to the women and the children. Believe it or not, I'm a big fan of kids. I'm a father myself, and
You're like a ship captain, women and children first.
yeah. And so if you ever go out to eat with me, it's funny. I always ask. The waitress says, "What do you want to drink?" And I'm like, "He'll have a kid's Bud Light. I'll take a NEPA, whatever." And they wait, what? So anyway, but the raspberry Hefeweizen is something. I like to see the involvement of women. I don't know how else to say that more politically correctly or whatever you want, but I love when women can come into a brewery and enjoy themselves just as much as it's kind of a traditionally maybe a men's thing or whatever. And I love to see families come in. I love to see women come in. I love to see women a part of the sport, if you will.
Yeah.
And so I like making those beers that are, believe it or not, that are a little more tailored to females. Honestly, I know.
Yeah, trends are trends, right? I
Yeah.
mean, people, it's not popular to say this is a women's beer, but I mean, women in general. When we're speaking in generalities, yes, that's what they've now. We've got some badass women in the craft beer industry here in Houston, right?
Oh, yeah,
That they'll drink the hoppiest IPAs and the stoutest stout and all of that, right? But yes, it's one of those things. Beer is so approachable because it's so wide and you can find something that appeals to anyone. Like even somebody, I don't really like beer. Oh, challenge accepted.
Yeah.
Let's find where you're at. And so that's what I like.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at doing for our tap room also, is giving everybody something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I mentioned the kids a minute ago, I'm not condoning giving your kids beer. What I meant by that is what Jeff's about to talk about, and that is creating a family atmosphere. So I think making beers tailored to women, but then also, hey, like bring your kid. We've got a badass playscape out back that's fenced in, and there's only one entrance and one exit. Mm-hmm. You drink your socks off to an extent right over here, and you don't have to worry about little Johnny getting lost or whatever, because that's the only door in, and you're the only gate in and out, if you will. So,
Yeah. So our vision to start off with was to have a place. Well, everybody says destination, but we're beer travelers. We've all gone everywhere and sampled different breweries.
Yeah.
Kind of pick what we like, what we don't like, and we're trying to put that all together into one place where people can go, hey, I can go hang out and sit on a group of leather couches, or I can sit at the bar, sit outside, sit inside, have a nice view, and then have, lanes for Uber, have, exclusive rooms that you can lease out, rent out, or whatever for events. Just try to be the do-all of tap rooms.
There's a reason why that was historically, like if you go back to Germany circa 1850 or whatever, it was, beer gardens, and, people would leave church and walk across the city, the square, and go to the pub, and everybody'd hang out there for the afternoon, for Sunday. And it was a family environment. And we got away from that in America just based on industrialization and all that kind of stuff. And now we're fine. It's like a renaissance getting back to that.
I think so. And you see a lot of breweries around Houston starting to do that as well.
Yeah. I was asking my daughters this morning, I was like, what's y'all's favorite brewery? Because I take them to breweries all the time. And, Ryan, she was like, oh, I love St. Arnold. It's so neat looking. And they've got the games.
Right.
It's like, yeah, because it's, that is fun. So, yes, people are taking that family approach to it. Hey, Jose. Jose just jumped on it. Janae, and people listening on the audio stream today. This is where I'll remind you, if you're out driving around and you can only jump on Facebook and comment and hang out, with the video for so long, and your bandwidth is getting a little it's getting squeezing every little bit out of your bandwidth, jump over to our Mixler feed and you can just listen to that delicious audio. Sounds good.
It is delicious.
Sounds good in your ears, right in there. But anyway, back to the family-friendly stuff. Kennedy, you have a different approach. Let me ask you this, because we, with a guy with kids, that's always everything, drive a minivan, representing the minivan with dads.
Great.
You don't have a minivan, I don't think,
do
right?
not,
Okay.
nor will I ever.
You say that.
No.
Have you ever driven a minivan?
Probably.
No, if you've driven a minivan, you'd know.
I've driven a regular van.
No, it's not the same. Minivans, man.
I don't know.
I used to say the same
Dude,
thing.
they all come with vacuums in the back now.
I know, right? Mine, I'm
I'm not trying to promote it, but they're nice.
Yeah, it's
You
like
got a family,
it's like a living room on wheels.
right?
Yeah.
Take out the back seats. Put some.
Jose's in
Put
agreement.
some bean bags. That'd be a sweet minivan.
How
you could
high
say that.
Carpet.
in the ceiling? Well, I mean,
Dingle balls.
Yeah.
Shag carpet.
I always like to hear the single dude or non-child having dude, because I can't really call you single. Hey, Jules. But when you go to a brewery,
Yeah.
you cool with having the kids running around?
As long as they're not like bumping into me spilling my beer.
Have they done that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been to places before where the kids, I would say, aren't supervised,
Yeah.
and they're just running around. Mom and dad are somewhere getting drunk, and they let their kids just run wild.
Yeah.
Then man, it's not the best time.
If we see that, we'll give the kids a shot of espresso and a puppy.
Yeah,
To take
yeah.
them.
Yeah. That's
I think that's what they have at No Label, something like that.
Yeah.
They have a sign that says like all unattended kids or something will be given.
sugar and espresso and
Yeah,
a
something
puppy
like
and
Yeah, and a puppy. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's just bad parenting.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. If your kids are terrorizing other people,
Nah, but I've got no issue at all. Like I have a 9-year-old nephew, and I've taken him to breweries before. His favorite.
does his mom know?
No,
Cool. You're the cool one.
Dad does.
Yeah.
His favorite one is Brash.
Yeah. Well, the
gosh.
video games.
Yeah,
love those guys.
because oh man, he loves video games, and I played like Mortal Kombat with him for about an hour, and
If he ever asks you what beer you're drinking and you're drinking their most famous IPA, what do you tell him?
Yeah. What do you tell them?
it's funny.
Did you catch that? It's incognito, right?
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you say that because we went to a restaurant a couple of weeks ago, and so I'm ordering a beer, and one of them was I asked for something, they didn't have it, and the lady was like, "Well, we have this one from Brash," and I'm like, "Is it the one that I can't say the name of?" And she's like, "Yes." I'm like, "I'll have one of those."
Yeah.
And then like just last week, I was hanging out with my nephew, and he's like, we drove by that restaurant, and he's like, "Oh," and he's 9. He's like, "Oh, that's the place where you got the beer that you couldn't say the name."
That's funny.
Does he know the name?
No, he doesn't know the name.
Okay. There
No,
you go.
no.
Way to go.
Shield his virgin ears.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's one thing to take him to a brewery blasting heavy metal, death metal, and
Yeah, and like he doesn't
playing a
even,
game where you rip people's heads off. But
I mean, he doesn't even mind that there's
Finish
no
it.
no air conditioning.
yeah, kids,
Like,
kids have a weird internal cooling
like,
system.
Like last year, that's where I went for my birthday, and it's in June, and
Oh,
it was
wow.
hot as balls there.
Yeah.
And like so hot that I didn't even go inside. We were just hanging out outside, and then he's in there just playing it up in the games, and he's just drenched in sweat. And he's just loving every single minute he can play those games.
Combat video games.
Yeah. Yeah. Burn some calories though. It's
Yeah.
healthy.
And like you give the kids like a bag of quarters,
Uh-huh.
and it's way cheaper than if you took them to like main event.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And every once in a while they'll put a game on free play
Yeah,
if you can get in on that one.
so way cheaper than main event. Beers are way better option.
Hey, you may want to. Well,
What?
your dad's watching.
Oh
Hey,
No,
Mr.
he-
Kennedy.
no, he knows.
Okay, good.
He
I
knows.
didn't want to blow up your spot, Mr. Kennedy. I hope your foot is feeling better. What's the latest? Is he getting around all right?
Yeah, he had a surgery.
Back to cage fighting yet? He kicked somebody in the head. He's like the crow cop. of
Yeah,
dads.
my dad recently broke his ankle. He lives over. They live in Andorra. You know where that is. Basically on the border of Spain and France.
Isn't it that like like a super small country, like
Yeah.
the smallest country in the EU or something?
Yes, I mean, it's technically a principality. Like
That's what it is. Yeah.
like Monaco or Luxembourg or something like that.
Or yeah.
Yeah, it's super small, like population less than 100,000. He broke his ankle there, and then he was in a cast for a month. He got healed, and then they decided they needed to go in and put a couple screws and like some metal plates in there, and so he just had that surgery 2 weeks ago on Monday.
How's the medical system over in? You said Andorra, right?
Yeah,
How's
I
it?
mean they're it's socialized medicine.
Well,
So-
yeah, it's like 5 people.
So yeah, yeah. So
Everybody throw in $20. Hey, we're good to go.
We're good.
my mom said they have like one hospital
Yeah.
with 3 operating rooms. 2 of them are under construction. So that whole place has like one place you can have an operation, and so when they schedule your procedure, they give you the date, but not the time.
Yeah.
So whenever it's available.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that operating room is just a revolving thing, just one right after the other.
I guess, but I mean, you said 100,000 people?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not that many people. Not everybody needs to get surgery all the time, right?
Yeah, but having babies and stuff. They're 100,000 people.
What's the population? I wonder what the makeup of the population is over there. Like, how many people are actually having babies?
I don't know.
Just saying. Some people are going to be too young.
Yeah.
Some people are going to be too old.
Yeah.
There's only going to be a few people in that baby-making wheelhouse.
I don't know.
How's the beer there?
Oh, they do have a couple breweries. My dad sends me pictures all the time of like local beers and stuff.
Yeah?
I mean, he doesn't drink or anything like that, but
Right.
he knows I do, so I'm always getting all these pictures and stuff. It'd be interesting. I mean, when I was in Barcelona a couple years ago, they probably have like 10 breweries there
In Barcelona?
in Barcelona.
Barcelona's big.
Yeah, they got a lot of room for growth there.
How many people are in Barcelona? 5 million? There's 2 million in Houston proper, right? Ish.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
How many people in the
5-6 million, something like that. Yeah.
Barcelona?
packed. It's
That's
packed.
Chicago, basically.
Well, yeah, but all those people are in basically the same size of like inside the loop.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, that sounds.
Yeah. So it is packed everywhere you go. Yeah. Everyone lives in like, high-rise apartments basically. There's no room, and traffic just absolutely sucks.
I bet.
And you don't want to have a car there because there's no place to park.
No. So that's why I love Houston. We're spread out everywhere, right?
For now.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Wow, my dad just jumped on right then
Yeah,
and
to
there.
get to Houston.
I wonder how he knew I was talking about him. Hey, Dad.
To get to Houston, you have to drive through Houston.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. How far is it from Houston to Houston? That's about an hour and a half, if you want. Tim Kreitz is he just jumped on, which reminds me.
Yeah, we have a question for you, Tim.
Yeah, Tim. What's
Thanks for
currently? Do we have that opening yet?
No.
Okay, good.
Do we have that opening?
No, I'm doing the main show opening. I thought we were gonna do like an animation or something. Now I just have to.
Well, it needs a little music to go along with it.
Oh, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we ask the question: what's the temperature in Midland? I don't know why we started doing this one, but Midland, Texas, way out there in West Midland and West Texas.
Yeah.
Midland, Odessa, hotspot for high school football. High school football about to start up.
Yeah.
Friday Night Lights. My brother-in-law was in the movie. He was a stunt double. He had just got done playing for the University of Texas football. He was running back, and so he was a stunt double. But Midland, Texas has a temperature range anywhere from -20 to surface of the sun, and so we always like to look in on Midland. Eccentric Brewing there in Midland, Texas, keeping everybody their thirst. What is it?
Libated.
Yes. So currently in Midland, if my phone is accurate, what do you think the temperature in Midland is?
95.
Okay.
I'm gonna go cooler. Now, how about 90?
It's gonna get way hotter though.
Yeah, and
92.
I'm going to say 91 because it's on the screen. 91 degrees currently in Midland, Texas, with a high of 96 degrees. Currently, it feels like 94.
That's
It
it.
should feel like 174 later
They
today.
must be having a cold front.
They are actually. This is a cold front later this week, or actually early next week. The high for Monday, 107. So
This is where I say it's a dry heat.
it is a dry heat, and but if you're boiling a beer, you just stick it outside, and it's good to go.
There you go.
You're Actually, you could almost mash it. Just stick the grain. You don't even have to put water on. Just stick the grain outside.
Exactly.
Oh, look, these conversion.
Put a giant magnifying glass up there.
Yeah. Oh, I bet you. Oh, I wonder if anybody's ever brewed with just a magnifying. You know what?
I mean, you can singe an ant. Why can't you singe a wort?
You could absolutely.
It'd
Actually,
be-
you know what?
Environmentally friendly.
What was the show that Sam Calagione did on the Discovery Channel? Brew something.
Oh yeah, where they brewed that beer underneath Lake Michigan in the middle of winter. Oh, what was that called?
Or no, it was Brew Dogs did one too.
Brew Dogs.
Was that the show
that's
where
what
they?
I'm thinking of.
Yeah, they did one in the back of it. Well, they did one with Sam Calagione. He had a show.
Yeah.
But then they canceled because Blue Moon was a sponsor of Discovery Channel. And they're like, he's too much of a wild card. And then, but yeah, Brew Dogs did one, and they used like mirrors or something on a train,
Crazy.
something like that. But then they had Sam Calagione on and brewed in the back of a truck while driving around a NASCAR track at 170 miles an hour or something. So
Yeah, they brewed a beer underneath, I think, Lake Michigan in the middle of January. So they cut a hole in the ice and I don't even know. They put the beer 20 feet down in this frigid water. Like, it's crazy.
yeah, what is Michigan your favorite Great Lake?
That's a tough one, man. It is the most, in my opinion, the most beautiful for sure. Yeah, you get some pretty wild sunsets on the west side of Michigan, and it's the cleanest. You know, it's the headwaters basically of the Great Lakes system. So when you get around, you got Lake Huron and Lake St. Clair, and then Erie, and then Ontario. The further you go over towards, you've got all the chemical plants dumping in, and who knows what else. But Lake Michigan's beautiful. I mean, it is gorgeous there.
What breweries in Detroit
Oh
that
God.
you are in the greater Michigan area?
So shout out to Rochester Mills Brewing Company. They're up there in my opinion. I love their beers. Detroit Brewing Company if you're downtown. Man, those are two of my favorites probably. We've got a couple near my hometown of Utica, Michigan, that have done very well. And I'm actually going back. I'm actually going to. I'm just going to say this, and everybody from Michigan's going to kill me. I'm going to Mackinac Island, at the end of September, and I'm really interested to see what we got out in the middle of Lake Huron, basically. So we'll see.
Chadford Pilbeam, also a Michigander.
Yeah,
He's I forget where he said he's from. I always ask him if he's an Ooper. Or is it Yooper?
Yooper.
A Yooper, an Upper Peninsula?
and it's funny because they call anybody, Michigan and Upper and Lower Peninsula, they're separated by a 5-mile long bridge called the Mackinac Bridge. And anybody that lives in the Upper Peninsula, so just to give you an idea, population of Michigan's around 10 million. 9 million of us live within 300 miles of Detroit, 200 miles of Detroit. There are 1 million people in the Upper Peninsula in that whole area up there, and they call us trolls. Why do they call us trolls, Jeff? Because we live under the bridge.
I
get it.
Yeah, when referring to Michigan, I always hear, what part of the mitten do you live on?
I'm gonna do
Like,
it, guys.
what part
I'm
is
so sorry. Actually, it's this hand, really.
Yeah.
But I'm
Chad
kinda-
says he's a
I'm
troll.
out of the way. He's a troll.
Yeah.
I'm a troll. So we'll troll together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you ever talk to somebody from Michigan, they always bust out the hand and say,
Yeah.
"I'm from
Yeah.
here." I am from here, north of Detroit.
Okay. The lower, y'all call them loopers if you're a lower peninsula?
Yooper.
A Yooper is an upper.
Yooper's an upper. Yeah, looper. I don't know.
Just call them loopers.
Yeah.
Just call them Michigan. It's almost Arkansas-like. Because we had a little notch there for the boot hill of Missouri, but nobody cares about Arkansas. So nobody. We're just like, hey y'all. That's all we do.
Right.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, Chad is Muskegon?
Muskegon.
Muskegon.
Yeah.
That is on the west side of the state, right here, on
okay.
Lake Michigan. Beautiful there, iron ore town, I believe originally. Don't shoot me if that's wrong, but I believe that's one of their mainstays.
That song by what's the song? I'm proud to be a Michigander from Muskegon.
Okay, from Muskogee?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
Is there not a version for?
Sure, you just made one.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'm sure it'll sell.
Yeah, we should do that. I don't know. I can't do that. I would be inauthentic because I'm not a Yooper.
Have you even been to Michigan ever?
No, I've been to Chicago.
Okay.
That's kind of close-ish. It's as close as I've gotten.
Couple hours.
Yeah. So I've seen Lake Michigan. I've stuck my foot in Lake Michigan. So the waters I touched have touched Michigan.
There you
Close
go.
enough.
That's close.
So you've been to Michigan by proxy.
Sure.
That's funny.
Sure. I talked to Chad. He says paper. What does paper mean?
Oh, paper, pulp and paper. So lots of timber up there.
Oh,
for
so
sure.
Or does it smell like a
so
fart?
It
all the time?
stinks.
Probably.
Like Texarkana kind of smells like a fart.
Yeah, there's some paper mill up in East Texas somewhere. It's
Yeah.
right off the freeway, and I've driven past it a bunch.
Yeah, well,
And
Texarkana for sure.
It stinks.
Yeah.
It is bad.
It's that decomposing carbon material.
What's worth that or like old like spent grains that's been out in the sun for like 8 hours?
It's a tough call.
It's
Grains.
bad.
You've seen them at my house. Whenever we get done brewing, we put the spent grains back in a bag and set them outside. And sometimes we'll brew like on Friday night, and that trash doesn't come until Tuesday.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about? I mean, I'm confident that we have the cure for cancer growing right in my driveway.
Yeah. The garbage guys are like, not this, these guys again.
I wish I had a picture of what my driveway looked like. We keep the garage door closed, and I put a mini split in there so we get to brew like in 68-degree weather year round. It's beautiful. But we just let anything that I have the floor is all epoxied, and we just spray it down. And you should see my driveway. It's just hop material from the garage door all the way down to the street. I mean, you could literally chew it.
Is your grass super green though?
It's very green, and you might could smoke it. I don't know.
All the insects are drunk out there.
That's where I talk about a little bit of lawn care.
Oh, not
Ken, I'm
again.
sure you saw on the way in. Missed a week on mowing. We were just busy. Kennedy loves lawn care talk, and I try to spend a few minutes every episode.
He spends a few minutes every
on,
episode.
lawn care talk.
It seems like hours an
No,
episode.
it's just a few minutes, but this is where I say, especially this time of year,
This is where I tune out.
almost impossible to water enough this time of year. But one thing you want to do is raise that mower level up as high as it can go. If you cut too short, that's why you got that brown grass.
Burn.
Yeah, you got to burn that grass. So that's my tip. That's my lawn tip for this week on Liquid Lunch. Raise that mower level up, no matter the type of grass you have, Kennedy. No matter the type of grass.
Yeah. So, have you ever had Brash's Cali Green? That's kind
Actually, I just had some.
that's kind of grassy.
Yeah, I just had some
It's
on
got like grassy notes to it.
part of the reason I wasn't able to mow.
Yeah.
Because I was
You were drinking Cali Green?
went to a restaurant here with some friends on Sunday, and that cut into my mowing time. So
Okay.
that was it. Had 2 of them, 2 Cali Greens, fish and chips and Cali Green.
Okay.
It's pretty good. So yeah, I've had it. That's it's like a super dank IPA. Sometimes I crave that. I want an IPA that just like
that you can chew.
and I want like the enamel of my teeth to feel
Yeah.
like it's about to get ripped off.
Yep.
I
I
just
know what
crave
you
it.
mean.
Yeah, I don't crave it all the time. Those super juicy like
You know what those go really well with?
what?
Apple pie.
Really?
Yeah.
You think so?
I think so.
So Kennedy, let's set the stage. Kennedy makes amazing pies. I don't like to give him very many compliments because it goes straight to his head. And
No, he just doesn't like complimenting me.
no, I mean just what you do with it. You never, I don't know. He makes amazing pies though.
You do fruited pies or all pies?
All pies. Yeah.
Can pies.
Dude, can we
can pie.
please do a collab with a beer on one of your? I would love to
Yeah.
find somebody that knows something about pies and make a
Razzie raspberry.
yeah, or whatever your favorite is. Obviously, it can't be like chocolate mousse cake or something like that, but
You're gonna put a pie in the beer, or put beer into the pie, or
yes.
Beer into the pie.
Oh.
And both.
All.
And serve it with the same beer.
Man, I would love to do that. Absolutely.
But yeah, I've done it in the past. You freeze the whole pie and
Yeah.
then throw it right in the fermenter with 5, 10, 15 gallons, whatever it is, depending on how what the sugar content is, and it comes out. Oh, it's wonderful.
yeah. Well, it's got. I mean, you think of pie, it's got like all the elements, other than the bitterness. But then if you could add a bitter element, maybe that's where the coffee comes in. Maybe that's why coffee goes so
Dude,
like
a
straight.
coffee blueberry pie. I mean, you could just come up with anything, man.
Dude, blueberry pie is my favorite.
Really?
To make, yes. I
Make
love.
what's your favorite to eat?
Probably blueberry.
Okay.
Yeah. Love blueberry. And yeah.
I love that. Blueberry is typically it's kind of a difficult flavor to get into beer as opposed to like to raspberry or strawberry that have a strong. Blueberries is a very subtle flavor, and so you really need to brew something that doesn't have a whole lot of flavor to begin with if you're gonna bring blueberries into the mix, in my opinion.
Yeah, no,
I'm
I
sure there's
agree. It's very
people-
subtle.
Yeah,
You don't
so-
see a lot of blueberry beers out there.
Takes a lot of blueberry per beer to
Yeah.
make something that is worth your while basically.
Yeah, this is where Chad would. He's going to post the meme of how to drink a blueberry beer. Take blueberry beer, dump it down the
Pour it
drain.
down the
Yeah,
drain.
he's not a big blueberry fan. I am a blueberry, but yeah, it's subtle. There was a minute there where there was like 5.
Yeah.
Like they all came out right around.
What is Purple Haze blueberry from Abita? What's the blueberry one?
That's
There's-
black. It's
that-
maybe a mix of
I think
berries.
I think Southern
Stetz-
Yankee has a
Stetzy?
blueberry beer.
Yeah,
Something bloobs or something like
Bloob-
that.
Funky
Bloobs.
Nice
BL.
bloobs.
No, Funky Bloobs.
Funky
Funky
bloobs.
bloobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually
What's the base stuff?
They,
very good.
I don't know. They also did the what is it? The shrub the shrubbery.
Blue dish
God,
rubbery.
from Monty Python.
Shrubbery Knigget.
Yeah. I think that was that's a
You're
blueberry
not riding.
whip.
You're just banging 2 coconuts together.
No.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of weight ratios. A 6-ounce bird cannot carry a 2-pound coconut.
African or European.
Are you suggesting coconuts migrate?
I showed that movie to my daughters. They didn't. They were like, "That's I don't really like. This is funny." Like, I don't know.
It's one of those Napoleon Dynamite type movies where
They like that one.
Yeah, where you either like you get the sarcastic humor or you don't. I don't know.
Yeah. We watched Airplane a couple weeks ago, and it's PG. But I've forgotten that's 1981 PG or 79 PG. And I forgot about when the turbulence hits and the lady with the boobs jumps in front of the screen. I'm like, ah! But they were cracking up. It was really funny.
Or ever see a grown man naked?
Yes, all of that. That was
You
that was
can't.
The co-pilot.
yeah. It's when they were when he started to lose air and she had to reinflate him, and then the cigarettes afterward. I mean, that movie's hilarious. That's one of those movies that and like Dumb and Dumber and Holy Grail. I wish I could like erase them from my memory and watch them again for the first time, and then I'd be like, that would be.
But man, you watch some of those movies, and when you get done, you're like, man, I'll never get the last 2 hours of my life back. You know?
Yeah.
It's one of those.
It's kind of like the show, but but you know,
I have to watch Holy Grail at least once a year.
Yeah.
you just gotta have to rehash. But back to the blueberries.
I think then Stetzy.
They have a blueberry lager.
Blueberry lager.
Fetching Lab has one. That one's a very, very enjoyable. I'll put that on the because I love I just love this fresh blueberry flavor. I don't like there's like the blueberry candy or whatever that you can get into that, but if you can get fresh blueberry flavor. Who
But
else had one?
the pie thing is cool because you get that depending on what kind of crust do you do.
Oh
You
man,
do a puff pastry or do you do graham cracker? What do you do?
No.
God, I think I just crossed the line here.
No, all my pie crusts are from scratch, and I use a shit ton of butter.
Is that a technical term? Shit
Yeah.
done?
Shit.
Can I-
well,
Is that like a
Can I write
pound
that down?
or 2 pounds? Or?
so one crust has an entire stick of butter in it.
I can hear myself getting fatter.
It is
Yeah.
so good.
Worth it, though.
Yeah.
What
It's-
type of butter do you use? Unsalted, I'm guessing.
Yeah, unsalted.
But any like a particular brand?
No, not necessarily.
You can go.
No.
You don't go hoity-toity. Like
No, I
Kerry
don't.
Gold,
No, I use
grass-fed.
No, I usually
massaged
just
cows.
I'll get like the HEB brand, something like that. It doesn't really not. So I do. So my should I give away my recipe for my crust?
Yeah, because people don't know. Look,
Here we go.
crust. Yeah, this is he's like a brewer. Crust. You have to know the ratios and the when and the
no.
how.
So
and the
you also like
wind
you
direction.
can do all butter, but you're not really going to get
cold butter, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're always working with cold butter. So if you use all butter, it's not going to be flaky at all.
Yeah.
So you got to do a mixture of butter and shortening. The shortening makes it the flaky.
Interesting.
So I
use lard.
No, I use shortening.
But could you use lard?
You probably yeah.
I'm partial to
Yeah. So
pig fat.
So when I do my mixture, it's 2 crusts at a time because you got the bottom and the top. So I use like a stick and a half of butter and basically 6 tablespoons of shortening. So I get that super buttery flavor that I like a lot, and it adds a little bit of flakiness to it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We need to install an oven in here.
And
Yeah, there's an episode where you just make a pie.
and then the secret to a good crust is when you're adding the water, you also add a little apple cider vinegar to it.
Ooh, you just
Makes
gave it away, man. You
Makes it
can't
rise
do
a
that.
little bit.
Yeah,
Just a splash.
Yeah,
I had
You
apple cider
just-
vinegar to my pumpkin
So
pancake.
when you're making the crust, you basically you're putting in the water like 1 tablespoon at a time, and then you mix it a little bit and put them.
use your fingers, or do you have one of those little cutters?
No, I used to use the cutter.
Yeah.
to do it, but it takes forever. And now I use I got a food processor. I do. It makes it cuts I can do it about 4 times faster.
Can you taste it in the crust though? Like it tastes mechanized.
No, it tastes good. It tastes
good.
like
technology.
Yeah, and then I put like a tablespoon of brown sugar in it.
Bam.
And a little bit of salt. That's
Okay.
my crust. And it is fantastic.
If you don't say so yourself.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just no getting around it. These pies are great. Jose, he said he missed where is Humble Beer Works. He missed that part of the show. Sorry, Jose. We will never talk about it again. No, still to be TBD.
Yeah,
to be determined.
looking for a location. I mean, of course, we have the pilot systems in my garage, and if you walk in there, I mean, we do everything like you would in a brewery. We CIP, we all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we're still actively searching for a place to land or a business idea. And like I mentioned before, we're organic people. We didn't go into this and sit down and say, here's the business plan. We said, hey, what does the market need? What does the market want? What do people want? We want to grow organically, and so that you'll see that in our recipes. We could have sat down and said, all right, I'm going to go on the internet and I'm going to search for Pliny the Elder clone. I'm going to search for Treehouse Trillium. I'm going to search for Orange Julius, whatever, and gone with all these really super famous beers and then called them something else and said, oh, we're an awesome brewery, right? But I don't know. We're not like that. We want to make a million mistakes before we get it right, because when we do get it right, you guys aren't going to know what to do with yourselves. It's going to be so awesome, I hope.
No,
I like that.
yeah, and I
I like
appreciate
not knowing what
that
to do with myself.
because I've been to a few breweries and I can tell that maybe they started too early because their beers necessarily aren't there yet. Mm-hmm. And then you guys are taking the approach of let's perfect these things, get them badass, and then
we'll go.
Then we'll sell them.
Are you giving
And-
yourself a deadline? Is there any like
We're
a 0
hoping
hour?
we're hoping within 1 year from now to actually not to be hopefully to be open, but we know that there's a lot of red tape.
Yeah.
We're partway through the TABC, but since we don't have we have a tentative location, like I said, across I-10 from St. Arnold, but it isn't definite right now.
Yeah.
So we can't complete the process until we do that.
You put a stamp on it.
But
Man,
we do have half that done.
So for people that don't know, and this is another opening a brewery thing that you need to go through. You have 2 governmental agencies that regulate you. The TABC, which is the Texas Alcohol and Beverage Commission, and then you have the TTB, which is the federal government, basically. And all they really give a shit about, pardon my French, is getting their damn money.
Yeah.
So we love you, TTB, TABC, whatever, if you're listening. I hope you're not. But anyway, so the TABC, once you do find a location, you have to do what's called a 60-day sign. So you have to go up and hang. And these are like laws that were made in the early 1900s, pre-prohibition, believe it or not. Ask me why. No, God, I'll punch you in the face. That kind of thing. But anyway, because I've gone through this a few times now.
Yeah.
You can't be less than 1,000 feet as the crow flies from a school. Mm-hmm. You cannot be less than 300 feet from a church.
Yeah.
Door to door. So that's like with a wheel as the roads go. Why is it that way? I have no
But
idea.
can't they say, it's okay, they can give their They can give their blessing.
They can. And so you have to get through that. And then you have to get through, so that's called your location check. Then you have to hang a 60-day sign. And a 60-day sign, and you have to do an ad in the local newspaper, and that gives...
That's the silliest thing. Who gets newspapers anymore?
You really have to put an ad in the newspaper?
It's crazy. You have to give
that's
formal
nuts.
notice, and Jeff can talk more about this in a second. But they, you have to give the surrounding residents of the area the opportunity to protest the fact that a brewery is about to live here.
Yeah.
This is the crux of a brewery. Let me tell you this right now. Imagine you want to open a brewery, right? You can't sell anything unless you can get a location. So let's say you're going to a potential landlord and you say, "Hey, look, I want to put a brewery in your warehouse or whatever." He's going to say, "Okay, that's fine." You're going to say, "Well, I need to hang a 60-day sign." All right. Well, here's a 15-month lease. Well, I can't sign your lease because I don't know if I can have the space. Well, I can't reserve the space for you unless we know that you can come in. So most breweries, you have to go out on a limb and spend thousands of dollars to even have the opportunity to potentially open. Yeah. So it is a really, really crappy, antiquated, dysfunctional system from the floor to the ceiling, and I hope they change it soon.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't.
Well,
Texas doesn't really do soon in laws.
no,
changing.
but I think they're heading in the right direction. I mean, lately,
some things are getting better.
So
But
lately,
They legalized hemp, right?
did they?
Yeah.
Okay. They
I
I know
mean-
Houston decriminalized a certain amount of weed.
Yeah, I saw that. They put a memo out to all the HPD officers. Anything under 4 ounces.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like fill up a one, a half of a 1 gallon Ziploc bag.
That's Saturday night for me.
You use a lot of hemp.
I
paper.
kid.
Hemp? You're talking about hemp, right?
Sure.
You write your when you're like taking your brewery announcement to the town crier.
Yeah.
To
it's on hemp
to
paper.
let everybody know it's on hemp paper.
It's on hemp paper.
Hear ye. Humble Beer Works shall henceforth be opening a
that's
brewery.
Oh yeah, you guys should do something like that.
I wonder if you could just if there's some loophole where you could just get a town crier.
There you go.
The guy that works at the Renaissance Festival. The Renaissance Festival kicks off in another couple weeks, but until then he's open, right? So he's off season. You could probably get him at a bargain.
It's like 360-day off season. We need you.
Yeah,
You know?
he could come in. He's wearing his tights and his whatever else. Yeah, his the poofy shorts. What are those called? I don't know. The
Pantaloons.
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 And his feather out of the hat and the whole deal. Yeah. So I'm a Renfest fan. I'll be honest with you. Best people watching ever. And
That, the airport, and Walmart are all right up there.
You wear a kilt?
I don't. I'm not opposed to it. Especially early on, you might need that airflow. You know.
True.
It's Texas.
Yeah. Not a bad deal there.
Yeah.
A little underflow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Swamp
Walking
ass.
Yeah, it would actually. It makes sense. It would completely. I don't know if it completely negates swamp ass, but it would mitigate. It would drop. I don't know if you could get like a why don't they have like glycol line or jacketed like underwear?
Don't threaten me with a good time. Let's do it.
Seriously, like a bodysuit.
There you go.
I know.
The
And
astronauts wear,
yeah, we're in Space City, right? We're this close to NASA.
Your balls could just be 25 degrees all the time.
Yeah,
Here.
Like an insert, sort of like
Yeah.
a
pocket stud.
like when you're in your lunchbox, you have like the little frozen.
Yeah,
But
little ice pack.
Yeah, the ice pack.
Well, you don't want any. You don't want that to sweat.
No, I mean it's gonna take a little work, but maybe something like that.
Something like that.
Have like a little pocket in the undercarriage part of
Like
and then you like insert it.
Yeah.
I'm giving away too many ideas.
No. But you definitely need like a
Pie crust. Your recipe for under yonder cooling.
a tank cooler. Something.
Yeah,
That's what you need. You need to keep. Yeah.
and it could be like
Tank conditioning.
it could be Bluetooth capable, so you can like adjust the temperature.
And change the music.
Yeah, because I mean, your boys need music.
Right. Stick to country or rock or rap because you don't want blues balls.
That's also a technical term. Let's write that one down too.
You don't want blues balls.
That's true. Jeffrey says they sell a cool down vest. He says just buy it and modify it. Not everybody's a mad scientist, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, mad scientist.
Yeah, Jeff.
He is.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, well,
Jeffrey.
yes.
Work on one of those, and I will test it out for you.
Actually,
for sure.
I
for
saw
sure.
an ad out of Japan. They had these little inserts like in the back of the shirt to put a little like personal AC, and they were going to do some with the pockets in the shorts and stuff like that. That would be great, but they're only selling them in Japan, which I don't know how hot Japan gets. I've not been to Japan, and
Well, we're
you
big
know.
in Japan.
we are. We do get some viewers and listeners and stuff in Japan. If you break it down, yeah, we do. I can show you the map actually of the podcast anyway.
Do we really?
Yeah,
We really have Japanese viewers?
hundreds of countries.
Oh,
Hold on, let me look it up real quick.
It's-
Talk amongst yourselves.
oh, I believe you.
See,
Well, no,
he just hung you out.
I mean, including if you include Interbrews, I'll look it up. France, I noticed the other day, quite a few.
Well, we get some Spain. I know for sure we get
Yeah,
Spain.
your dad was there today.
We have Germany
Yeah.
last week.
Yes. Yeah.
Last
Yeah,
week.
we drank a Berliner from Berlin,
Yeah.
and the brewer jumped on.
Really?
Just watching. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was in Germany a couple years ago, and God, they've been subjected to this Reinheitsgebot since like the 1500s or whatever, like 500 years or whatever, right? And I was in Hanover, which is a decently large city in the north of Germany, about an hour or so north of Frankfurt or whatever. They were not allowed to, if you wanted it, they just made it to where you could brew stuff outside of Reinheitsgebot, and you're not allowed to call it beer. So I go into this
Texas.
Yeah, I go
That's ale.
Yeah, exactly. I go into this beer, and the word that they use in Germany is the word craft. So you've got beer, but you can also drink what they call craft. And it was funny. They had, all their 20 different Reinheitsgebots beers, and they had craft, and there was like 2 beers that they had, and they're just now allowed in the last X amount of years or whatever to do anything outside of yeast, water, hops.
Yeah.
And grain. So it's interesting.
And it's weird to think because like so much beer has come from Germany,
I know.
Okay, hold on. Let me pull up the countries.
and they're doing like Texas style laws there.
It's very antiquated, and but they're coming out and making their headway. And a lot of beers that come out of Germany is, honestly, it's because of the water that they have there, right? You got Pilsen from the Czech, and I just mean like Europe in general or whatever. And so, the beers in those days were defined by the water that they had available, how much hardness it had, or what the year-round temperature was, like whether it was a good lager area, which is like northern Germany, versus an ale area, which is like southern Germany.
Yeah. I misspoke. I said Japan. Apparently, our numbers in Japan aren't great. United States, obviously, number 1. Germany, number 2.
Yeah.
Australia, UK,
Yeah.
Korea.
Yeah.
All of Europe.
We know the Australian viewers.
Yeah. Canada, China, Spain.
Yeah.
And then
I know the Spanish viewers.
Ireland, Nigeria, Norway, Taiwan. Taiwan isn't part of China, but that's...
I think you're thinking Hong Kong.
No, but Taiwan is... Where's Taiwan?
It's the island
Okay.
off of.
Mexico,
It's
Ukraine,
Indonesian,
Singapore, Hong Kong,
Well,
Netherlands, Indonesia,
We should have more Mexico numbers.
Poland, France, Russia, Malaysia.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Anguilla, South Africa, Thailand, Netherlands, Indonesia, Tunisia,
Uh-huh.
and that's
Well, the Nigeria
It's a hot
one that explains why we're like helping out a former prince.
yeah.
Or
Well, that was part of it. He's like,
Yeah, he goes.
if you send me $5,000,
Yeah.
I'll send you my $8 million,
Yeah.
and you can hold it in your account, and
Yeah.
then when I get there,
Yeah.
we'll divvy up.
How's that working out?
We're still waiting on him. He got our money,
Yeah.
so that part of it is solid.
Yeah. That's why.
And he said just any day now.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, that's why the studio looks like this. We're waiting on that $8 million.
yeah, once he gets here, we're not getting the whole $8 million because it's it's a deal, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna get 4
Yeah.
minus tax, so 2.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, we're gonna probably paint,
yeah. Well, we'll probably redo the table.
maybe redo. Well, we'll definitely clean the table.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It could use a good buffing.
Yes.
Sanding, maybe refinishing.
maybe get some 4K cameras.
Yeah. Oh,
That'd be cool.
It's crazy
this,
talk.
This show in 4K.
yeah.
Okay. Well, it's already 1:30.
Oh, okay.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does everybody need? Final message. What do people need to watch for it? Obviously, you're on social media, right? Where Facebook and
We have a Facebook page, Humble Beer Works. And
Is that hard for you to say?
it is.
Okay.
Yeah. And we actually are going through some rebranding. We have somebody working on that. So the logo might change, things like that. But just follow the Facebook. And,
so people should jump on board so they can say, "Hey, I remember back when they had the original logo."
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Jose says he's sending a friend request now, or he's following. So there you go.
Cool.
Awesome.
There you go. Thanks, Jose.
Yeah, and we've got some events coming up. I know these are all small, but we're going to be at there's a small food truck event we'll be at the beginning of September that we'll post about. We're always open to folks that would love to stop by. No problem. We'd love to fill up a pint glass for you and create that personal relationship with every single person. We don't want to be so big that we don't know who you are, who our customer base is, because without you guys, man, we're nothing. I mean, really, we really are nothing. It's not just the beer, but it's the people that support you. So again, humility, right? I mean,
Are y'all on Twitter?
we don't have Twitter. We do have an
Instagram?
Instagram page.
Is it humility or humility?
Humility.
It's humility. Yeah.
We'll give him that. Yeah.
I'm gonna hit this music. We got gives us a ton of time.
So, do
3.5
you guys have
minutes.
any collaboration in works with Huggy Bear?
Yeah, have y'all started one yet? Since
Not
y'all
with
got
Huggy
here?
Bear, no.
Okay.
I have some.
How about now? Now? It just seems like every time I turn around.
Well, we do. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
He gets around.
call us, Huggy.
Okay.
So, yeah, I do have a collaboration from someone in Washington State. Everybody's Brewing, one of the brewers, a friend of mine. So yeah, he wants to be the first, but I think we'll have somebody else before then. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
And then I'm sure Brad has some also as well.
Mopin'.
Yeah.
Mopin'. Love everybody's ideas, man. I mean, taking beer to the next level doesn't come from typically one person, and so you know, it's always welcome.
Yeah, and come by and brew with us. Just drop us a line and let us know, and we'll let you know when we're brewing.
Yeah. Cool. Jose said he's going to come by the grain cellar and try your beer and maybe leave a note. Get a hug from Preston. At the Grain Cellar. Get your free hugs today. Thank you to Preston helping bring today's show. And to all of you guys who have watched and listened and commented and been a part. It's always fun. Get your free hug at the Grain Cellar. Just tell them Liquid Lunch sent you. Free hugs, waist up, waist down, however you like it. Side hug, whatever. He's a versatile hugger, that Preston. He'll do it however you like it.
Waist down.
And, you know, Kennedy, great show today. All the good pie talk.
I could talk pie all day long.
Dude, it's in your, this pie talk today, definitely in your top, like, 3.14.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Just do that math.
Oh.
Pie
okay.
joke.
Yeah, I get
Woo!
it. I get it. It took
All
me a
right.
second.
Yeah.
I,
That's where, that's where I do
that's
the shameless self-promotion. Watch out, Interbrew's latest episode from Battle Hops in Katy.
I love that place.
Yes, that's another badass place.
So, just real quickly about Battle Hops, all those games there.
Yeah, over 400.
Yes, that's the guy's personal collection.
Yes. JD.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Yes, his personal collection of games.
And constantly adding more.
Yes.
Custom-made gaming tables as well.
Yeah, gaming tables are awesome. But
And then another episode dropping soon from Whitmire's Distilling. So, you know, if you want a little bourbon, there makes it good.
Man, we would love.
Blue Label.
We're looking for somebody to do some cask mates type stuff with. So if y'all ever run into anybody you love, send them our way because we're ready for an imperial stout on a barrel.
There we go. Yeah. So all good things coming your way from all corners of this table, except for that other side over there. We should have had one more person here. I feel that side over there got left out.
where would we fit? Where?
I don't know.
Uh,
Just thoughts. So anyway, be sure to listen to that podcast. Liquid Lunch available on podcast as well, and YouTube and Facebook and all those places. Tell all your friends. Humble Beer Works. Go by the Grain Cellar. Try their beer that's always on tap, mostly. And just be on the lookout for all the great things coming. So, guys, thank you so much. Jeff, Brad, excellent
Cheers.
job today. Kennedy, great job today. All you guys, thank you. We'll see you right back here next week on Texas's Live Midday Craft Beer Show. You know it, you love it. It's called Liquid Lunch. Toodaloo, everybody. See you next Thursday.
Hooray for beer!
Woo! And that's a wrap.